Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the 2,000 subscriber live stream. I just got out of the shower. My hair is a little wet. And I'm going to go post this on my Instagram now. Now that I'm live, I get a link to it. So I can post that there. And we'll get to the questions and answers shortly. Let me just grab this link from the YouTube, put up on my Instagram, because I didn't have a pre-link for it. But yes, 2,000 subscribers. It's been a while since I did my 1,000 subscriber video, so definitely a milestone, I guess. And I do have a new video that I wrote, that recorded and edited, and hopefully can have out in a week. I took a little bit of a hiatus from this, as my last video kind of was published, the Martin Luther King one, as soon as my second semester started, so I didn't have as much time. Dario, how you doing? Oh, I should put this in the Discord too. And we'll run this one for about an hour or so. Let's say 2,000 subscriber live stream at everyone. I'm going to give it about 1 or 2 minutes before I get into everything. So I'll send the update to everyone. Are you in the Discord? We have over 600 people in it that I just sent it out to. I don't know how to DM me right now on my main account, and I can send you that link. Let's get this going. Perfect. 2K live. YouTube live stream, swipe up. I'm just putting it all on social media to get it going. It's just gonna take a minute. Yes, I'll send you the link right now. The IP to the Discord. I have a few question answers from Instagram. I'm also gonna look at some stuff that you guys type in this chat here. Probably prioritize that over content. Let's go. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've really uploaded solidly. I've done a few live streams, probably done like 8, maybe 7, and then I deleted a few just because I don't really know that's the move for the channel. Now let me get this link for Dario. Let me send that over. Here it is. Here's the IP. And also I'm just going to post this on Blaze Socrates real quick before I look at the questions. I can't go live on History University anymore. They don't tell me why. They used to tell me why. But I don't know, man. They're against it. They're against it. Copy link. Alrighty. All right, website. All right, now you guys are gonna see me go live through another app. If you guys are on here, and you could, there we are. We're there. How we doing, everyone? That's wild. If I do that again. All right, everyone. We're live streaming on YouTube right now, as you can see. We're doing a 2,000 subscriber video. Because we just did 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're going to do a live stream over there. I put the link in my bio if you want to check that out. I'm also going to do the questions and answers from there. On my main account, History University, they don't let me live stream anymore. They don't tell me why. It just says the action is blocked. YouTube's going to be probably the future of most live streaming and the majority of the effort going forward because it's not becoming possible to live stream on the app. So yeah, if you want to, you go click the link in my bio. We head over here, and I'll be doing the questions and answers for here, and we'll be running it for about an hour. Live stream link in bio. Let me just pin that comment right here. There we go. So if you want to join, you join through there. So we're going to run it for a little bit, and I'm going to work on doing more YouTube videos. We have one that is written, typed up. It's going to take it'll take like a half an hour to record, but it'll take some time to edit the audio and edit the video. It'd be optimistic to say I'll have it done by the weekend, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if you want to click that link, we'll do the live stream there, and you could check out the live stream on YouTube, and we'll have that going. All right, catch you guys there. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions that we got. Oh my gosh, my phone's kind of slowing down. All right, good history. If you guys don't know what the question and answers look like, it's kind of hard to see my phone. I posted this. I posted that too. But you swipe up, and then you could see the responses here. So this is a good question. This is actually pretty deep. Can you recognize your own biases or biases? That's backwards. Now, we're talking about me personally. Can I? I definitely don't. I'm sure maybe sometimes I get a little bit more aware of it. Like I talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect, which basically states that people who are new to something will overestimate their ability, or just in general, humans overestimate their ability. So they asked a certain amount of people how they think they are at driving, and 80% of them said they're above average. Average basically means the middle, right? So you can't have 80% of people better than 50% of people. So that just kind of showed that people thought they're much better than they were. They did the other test scores. People that were in like the bottom third, were like 70% of people did better than them. They thought they did better than 70% of people after they took the test. So it shows to be people who are less skilled tend not to be as good as evaluating their skill. And then you start getting better. You start realizing how much you don't know. Like the curve goes down. You keep realizing how much you don't know. And then the better you get at it, the more you master something, you still realize that I know so much, but there's still so much you don't know. So almost like beginners and like masters are like equally competent. If you're learning guitar and then you play for 20 years, like you both kind of realize, you both think you're just as good as each other pretty much. It's kind of wild. So in terms of that, do I recognize my own biases? Personally, there's probably a lot I don't. Right? A lot of times I have biases I don't. Now, if somebody's done in Kruger and I'm learning something new, then I'll go into that knowing that. Like I have the ukulele over there, and like I knew going in I'm gonna be horrible, but I knew I'll make a little progress and I'll realize how much progress I've made. So if you're aware of certain cognitive biases, you'll eventually be able to understand where you were, other people are biased, where you would have been biased. So if he's asking me personally, I would say, yeah, probably a lot of times I don't recognize my own bias. But if he's saying in general, I mean, for the most part, we don't. That's why there is bias. We're not perfect functioning humans that have tremendous knowledge of everything. We're definitely flawed and we're definitely biased in many ways. So that was a good question. Let me look for another question. We got, so Dara, you could put it in the chat too. You don't have to put it on I just saw your question. Can you tell me your most awesome college party you have been to? Sure, we can talk about that. I would say last year, so my senior year, and around like August or September, so early in the year, we had so typically this is how college kind of works. You kind of have like fraternities, and like they have people over at their house, right? And what they'll have is the people in the fraternity, the brothers, and then maybe a friend who they all know. Like, they can invite somebody they know, but they really don't want too many people who aren't a part of their group to come to their party. And then there's, they'll have just unlimited girls, fraternity guys, and then the girls they want to have over, right? Some colleges let sororities hold parties, some don't. My school didn't let sororities hold parties. So fraternities would have basically all the guys in the fraternity and girls over. And fraternities kind of be rivalry from that because one fraternity will have a group of girls, another fraternity have their own, so there'd be a bit of a rivalry. But this party was unique because it was a house that wasn't owned by a fraternity sorority, but sorority girls living in it, and they were friends from two different sororities. So they had a party in their backyard with their sorority sisters from two different sororities, and they hadn't opened any guys. So where historically just your group of guys and girls that you invite, this was multiple groups of girls inviting as many groups of guys as they can. And then eventually the basketball players showed up, which was pretty cool. I was at the pong tables playing them a bit. Um, I did win a few games against the guy who's in the NBA now. I don't have. Let me see if I pull my personal Instagram. And at the end of it, I got a photo with. I'm not following myself on this account, so I can't see my own photos. But I did get a photo of one of the players we beat, which is pretty cool. So just the whole unity between, all the students. Here it is. It's on my personal account, but there I am with Miles Powell. He came to the party. I played against him in pong. He's much better on the actual court than he is at that. Azar asked, "What's the difference between college and university?" Obviously, they're used interchangeably a lot in the United States, but essentially, university is like, say, a group of colleges. So I went to a university, but I also went to a business school. So in my university, there was a business school just for business. That's where all the business students went. And then there was also an art and science school. So all students taking history or whatever, sociology, would go to the School of Arts and Science for their classes. Then we had a medical school over that part of campus. So you had like all these little colleges between just where the medical students go, just where the history students go, just where the business students goes. And like that collectively is known as the university because there's a bunch of little colleges in it, or little schools within the university. And then because it's like a university and all tied together, like if I took a general history class, because the university wants kids to take history, then they'll have business kids with the medical kids with the history students all in one class. Whereas I think colleges don't offer as much of that diversity. They might just offer a liberal arts degree or certain majors, and it's like one collective thing. And so that's why I know in Spanish the word they use colegio for like high school, and then the concept of college, and then universidad. So the concepts are a little different, but the way that colleges and universities have been the last 20 years of hiking up their tuition, increasingly become more expensive and trying to offer more and more stuff. The line gets blurred. You have colleges that function like universities, so it's not that much of a big deal anymore. Um, that is an awesome, nice one. My generation was raised on American Pie movies, so we wanted to party like that. I freaking loved American Pie, the original. I don't know if I went to see as much as the later ones. Uh, the original is really cool. They're all high school before the prom. That's pretty cool. Second one, it's the summer back from the first year of college. I don't know if I saw anything after that, but yeah, those are definitely formative in how people thought and view college. So technically, a lot of people go to university, but they call it a college. I think the way to think of it is that they're both higher educations that offer degrees, and like as they've been charging more and more and more, they've kind of just blurred the lines, and they still offered more degrees without adding the division between the schools from within. Um, because a lot of the colleges are very elite. Like you go to Boston College, and it's a really good school. Like there's a lot of colleges that like you're going to get a degree just as good or better than a university. So it's not even. I would say colleges tend to be smaller. You don't have gigantic colleges anywhere. Um, you do have universities where you might have 10,000 kids a grade. Colleges are probably also smaller, but there's small universities. I went to a small university too. I'll look this up real quick. The typing might be a little annoying. But Michigan University is a gigantic university, and their class size, um, they have 44,000 people at their university. That's large town. Mine was probably closer to 6,000, 7,000 people total. So you have schools that are 5, 6 times the size of my university. One movie like American Pie, which was awesome too. I've never seen Euro Trip. I just know Scotty doesn't know from that movie. I just see it. Lots of colleges have plenty of departments, diversity, but they don't have much specialization. Yeah, it's another way to think of it too. Probably less that you can do with the degree or degrees offered. I want to check one or two more questions from the Instagram, and I'll continue to look at the feed that's coming up here. Um, all right, what else did I get here? Um, would Rome have been better or worse off if Caesar had not been assassinated? I feel like the trend was pretty similar. So he adopted Augustus Caesar, or also known as Julius Gaius Caesar. Um, when he was a grown adult, he basically said that you're going to be my successor, you're going to be my heir, you have potential. Um, so now Caesar wasn't killed, and he still would have had Augustus taken after him. Caesar probably would have just solidified power even more. Um, so he would have just died naturally or in battle or something like that, I guess. I don't know. I think the course of action would have been pretty similar because he still would have Augustus still probably would have taken over. Same thing would have followed suit. Um, I think that because Caesar already rose up. I mean, Caesar's a title, right? So he already rose up to that title. He already went. He made himself whatever imperator. So like he already kind of set the stage for the Roman Empire. He was a transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. Um, the Roman Republic was at the end of its time, with or without Caesar. I think. I was looking at the questions I posted in my next story, but I'm going to focus a bit more on the live chat now because that's where the people are. Yeah, so let me take that one down on the story so we talk from here. I also want to post this on another page that I run to get the people out. But yeah, we're talking about this Q&A. We're talking a little bit before about some college experience, which I think is very important. I mean, the price of college has gone ridiculous, but I think from an educational standpoint, it almost feels like looking back on it that like high school teachers are made to kind of supervise you during the day and give you like very basic learning skills. And I'm not saying there's a low bar to becoming a high school teacher. It's just that I feel like education is almost secondary at the high school level. Like, because the state mandates that we all go to school, you can't miss school. I also read some subreddits of teachers, and they basically say like how today it's very hard to teach controversial things or teach things that make people uncomfortable, because then you get called to the principal's office for saying X, saying Y. So you just got to teach a test. You got to teach a test at the end of the year, state test. You just got to be very vanilla, very bland, can't afford to get in any trouble. So it becomes a day in, day out job, I feel like. Obviously, you got to admire these people for liking education and wanting to be around academics, and they can probably share with each other the knowledge they know. But it seems like the job itself has become like, I don't know. Like, I think college professors tend to be more competent in the subject matter. I'm not saying that high school teachers aren't, but I think that like they're not allowed to be specialists. They have to make sure all 30 students in sitting down have the same understanding of what they taught, which means that the most advanced kid is already understands it and he's just hearing it over and over again. Where the kid who doesn't actually get it or falling behind in the subject, he needs or she needs to get it down to that level. So it's not academic first. It's like get the grades we need the students to get on a state test, show that they've learned X, Y, and Z. But it's not about the pursuit of knowledge, and it's not about in-depthly learning. It's about getting the right question to an answer on a test, rather than critical thinking. But I mean, not everybody needs to be a critical thinker in society. I'm sure it might help the individual in some facets, but at the end of the day, we really just need to have skills to get a job, and that job to take care of our livelihood, our where we live, what we eat, and that's just about what it comes down to in the U.S. you just kind of pay bills and retire. That's what it seems like in this country. Hmm. I mean, then Europe prices of university are not so high like it is in the U.S. For example, you got private colleges and state universities. If you pass all exams, you don't pay tuition. Um, our state universities are cheaper than our private universities by a good bit on average. Some aren't. Some also charge you a lot if you're out of state too. Um, so they're significantly cheaper for those who live in the state, and they're significantly more expensive if you're coming out of state. You're basically paying a private rate at that point. Um, College can be affordable, but I think it's seen nowadays as also an experience, as we talked about earlier. People want to have a fraternity party. They want to have their youth. They want to go out and enjoy the day with their friends, and they want to experiment and things of that nature. And this is kind of the only time that we allow people to do it in this country. Because then it's off to work. We're one of the most productive countries. That's why the GDP is so high, because it's a very work focused culture, not a very life centered culture. Um, if you're not working super hard, you're probably not getting a lot of income in this country unless you're coming from a lot of wealth um, or some really smart investments. So if you're not, you know, you can't afford to have a life where you relax and enjoy your time. Um, that's just not really a thing. Do Americans consume foreign non-English music or cinema? Music for sure. BTS is gigantic. Those Koreans are huge here in the United States of America. So we do K-pop. K-pop has been big here for a while, but I think that's a global thing. Um, Sometimes Spanish music does kind of break the mold. I mean, Drake tried to do the song Mia with Bad Bunny. Sometimes you get a little, I think if we call it Latino music, that also hits kind of more the demographic of the people who already speak Spanish, but nothing else. So the K-pop and then the the people who speak Spanish music does pretty well. But yeah, like no German song ever gets across here. Um, no French, none of that nature. Spanish is the second most common language here. A lot of people do understand it more than ever. In terms of movies, yes and no. We have the Academy Awards. It's a big movie thing. Um, and last year they gave Parasite the best film. That was a foreign film. That was a Korean film that had subtitles. Um, so that did well. Um, you hear about it maybe like once or twice a year. Like the best international film does kind of land in U.S. audiences, but that's more for the people who are already kind of into film, which already kind of feels like a niche kind of group of people. Um, but yeah, unless it's like the best film from that country, it or the year, let's say, like between all of Europe, it's not really going to get into American audiences. Um, I know in Europe, UK, and US culture rules supreme. Yeah, I imagine that um, some are big films like the Avengers and things like that, Avatar have done really well. It probably also has to do with the fact that people speak English as a second and third language, um, where people don't. Not a lot of German speakers, French speakers in the U.S. So it's only really Spanish speakers. Um, but that's its own thing. Uh, if you learn classical music or jazz in America, you learn a lot of music from outside the country. That is true. I did take a what is it called? Musical arts class, and yeah, you do learn all these composers are not American. Um, it's true. Classical music tends to be historically, people like Beethoven, Mozart, um, Chopin. I'm forgetting a lot of the names of the people I learned. Is Tchaikovsky one of them? I don't even know. The Russians have a decent influence on U.S. culture. Um, Not tremendous, but kind of feel like sometimes they seep in. We do have some Russian immigrants here. Yeah, so why isn't Instagram allowing me live streams? It's a good question. So historically, when I went to live stream, it would say you have um, a certain offense or this post was taken down, you can appeal it. Now, if I just go live stream, like right now, I'll go live stream, um, and I get this message as soon as I did it. It's gonna come backwards. Live video blocked from sharing live video, and it doesn't give me like an appeal button. It says you can't do it. No clue why. They basically restricted my account for a bit, unrestricted it, and now they're saying I can't do it again. So I got an email from my boss. I gotta check that right now. Uh, I gotta post something real quick, at least next week. But yeah, so Instagram kind of blocked that. People can't see my stories even. I can't see my own story from my own account. It's a little funky, but that's why we're gonna focus more on YouTube. I mean, I hit the 1,000 mark in October, and then I just kind of halted for a bit. I got to keep going. I got to keep making videos here. It's it's the better medium too, to have these videos that are timeless and that can transmit the information. The shelf life is much longer. Like if you don't see my post after a day or two, you're just not gonna see it on Instagram anymore. It's just kind of done with. They don't really promote stuff that's that old, and maybe on your explore page, they do, but but yeah, YouTube they do a lot of times they do recommend old music, old videos, and old music. You'll find too. Um, but yeah, that explains nothing as to why they banned me. Um, I don't like Instagram agenda. Historical stuff is forbidden, but stupid people. I agree, Dario. There's a lot of things that are I see get posted, and I'm just like, I can't post that. I do a good job of like sometimes getting a little what do you call it combative with people of different views per se. Um, so I think there's some targets. If I post something related to World War II, they might take it down. They don't like my message. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of things I see that I'm like I just couldn't get away with. It's because I have 40,000 people follow me, and that's 40,000 opinions, and that's uh, 40,000 different people deciding what they want to see, what they don't want to see. I'm just gonna put this link up on my backup. Um, why is this generation of Western politicians so passive and weak? Um, I don't think it's too weak in the U.S. I think that they're pretty. Um, they say some pretty strong words to each other. You follow some of these people on Twitter. Um, and they also did a lot of people still alive in 20 years ago who voted to, or 18 years ago, who voted to invade Iraq. Um, so that was a little hawkish. It was, yeah, maybe a generation prior, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you see Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's not weak. She's doing CrossFit pull up weightlifting and putting it on Twitter because she's strong like that. I'm gonna try to show you that video. I thought it was great. Um, she's like, "This is my." I think it's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Um, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is great. She posted like, oh, she didn't take it down. She might have took it down. Oh, all right. We'll just have to look for it on Twitter. Marjorie Taylor Greene workout. Yeah, this is a representative. She's not weak. She's just doing these over and over again. Um, I mean, like, what should we expect the politicians to do now? I mean, they don't really work together too well. They seem to just vote against each other all the time. I mean, I think it's a good thing that our Democratic leaders aren't trying to kill each other in duels, and that's a good evolution. They're not losing people who are knowledgeable and educated in politics and have been there for years and risking their lives over an issue. Um, that's smart. I want FDR type leader. What do you mean by that? I know FDR, dude did win 4 terms, so that kind of goes to show. Pretty talented man overall. But yeah, no, 4 terms is pretty legit. So I guess he was pretty strong. He had the fireside chats. He was communicating with the people pretty quick, pretty on the daily, things of that nature. Um, I actually don't know how Libya and Syria politics work nowadays. Used to know a bit more about Libya with Gaddafi, but I don't really know what's going on in Libya anymore, if I'm being honest. There are a bunch of old white people who don't have much to do, and it's Europe as well. Yeah, it's interfering. We adopt policies on how to manage people we know nothing about, and they end up starving, joining militias. Yeah, I mean, we do got some politicians, and some populists. We'll put it that way. Some populists aren't necessarily um, the most policy oriented, I'd say. I'm glad they're killing each other over positions in some place, world politics, and they still like that. I mean, like, I hope politicians don't have to kill each other, you know, for argument's sake. Let me just do this up here. All right, let me web link this. Um, um, mm, 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 mm. Not the color we want to make that text. All right. Geopolitics is a dirty game. It is a dirty game. It is unfortunate that we do have so much conflicts in this world, and individuals have uh, a need to rule or get themselves higher in society, and these people are driven people, and they might be self-serving, and then they have to deal with other self-serving individuals, and it's just not a great combo. Um, it's tough because you have there was some article that was getting passed around not too long ago, and basically saying like narcissists and psychopaths, like sorry, these people like sociopath, not psychopath, like they have like they're willing to take the steps to get on top into a leadership dominant role and do things that other people are not. So when you come to people who are leading and leadership, they're people who are willing to do things that other people are not, uh, and those are the ones who are in charge. So it doesn't necessarily make them ethical. It almost seems like it's hard to climb the ladder ethically because you're going to have people who want to cut the corners and do it unethically. Um, it's weird like that. Um, find some brighter topics. U.S. geography is kind of cool. Um, pretty expansionary. Went from the 13 colonies to 50 states to a bunch of overseas territories. So the U.S. did do a good, effective job in we'll say conquering the land. I would urge you to read about how world populist originated. I don't by world populist. The word populist. Sorry, not the world populist. Um, is it some type of fascist root? Not sure when I've seen populist. Let's see. Let's see the origins of populist. So the definition: a person, especially a politician, who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by established elite group. This is a 19th century term in the U.S. Populists coming from people. Um, yes, no, the populists, quote unquote, serve the people, but so do all politicians. Um, it's just that the way the U.S. works with very, very, very poor turnout rates when it comes to voting, it's very tough to. Um, we don't necessarily elect the most accurate people. I feel like so there's trying to be voting changes. I think some people want to do. They think that doing. I mean, we can't have a country where we have 55% people vote. Last election had 65%, which is a crazy amount. That's a 10% increase. But previously, you're getting whatever 55%. That's 45% people not even voicing their opinion. And at 55%, and you need a majority. A majority of 55% is only like 27.5%. So it's really what 27.5% of people want that ends up making the decisions for the people. Um, so it's not a great system. Uh, until we get more people involved in politics, it's still gonna be a lot of issues because there's a lot of people unheard right now. Do you know about Yugoslav war music? It's quite popular in the community around the world. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Yugoslav war music. It does not make its way into the U.S. Honestly. Yeah, Azar is a very anti-democratic person. Um, I mean, one person, one vote. There's a lot of propaganda and slander during election season in the U.S. It almost makes me believe that not everybody knows what they're voting for, um, which is tough. It is tough. People are told certain things. They're given attack ads. They're given videos that are just dishonest from the campaigns themselves or from individuals who support a certain candidate. Uh, it's bad. It is tough. I wish we were able to have more of a. I don't think the United States of America is a super intellectual culture. I don't think they value uh, within their celebrities and that. I mean, athletes are and celebrities are not meant to be intellectuals, but I don't think we have many celebrity intellectuals. We do. We have a few, but I think it's almost an anti-intellectual culture as a whole. Which is fine. I mean, people don't need to be intellectuals, as I talked about earlier. Like, part of the United States, people get educated so they can do a job, and that job helps society keep going. So the United States is a lot about getting money, having a family, and if they want to enjoy entertainment or sports instead of maybe intensive self-reflection or intellectual journals, and they can. And they probably should. They probably should be able to relax and not have to push themselves after working all day. But at the end of the day, I think that's bred to a very anti-intellectual culture in the United States. Uh, we don't vote for the surgeon soldier. I don't even know that we're architects or architects. Sorry, there's no space there. But we vote for politicians. Uh, yeah, we do. We do. You think people should be hired politicians? Um, I mean, in the U.S., I doubt any change in voting like that would happen where we just appoint politicians. Um, but maybe some other countries. The United States is almost synonymous with democracy, or at least giving people the right to vote. Um, yeah, I mean, as I brought up a little earlier too, is that like the people that want to climb the ladder and the ones that want to lead and the ones that want to rule uh, might be self-serving. They might just desire the power. They might just desire that role, the respect it commands, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, Mrs. Governor, right? Um, and it might be very self-serving that they want the title, they want the prestige, they want to go down in history, right? They don't want to necessarily help the people. They don't necessarily want to change policy. They're not uh, thinking of it from that a moral or ethical point. They just want to get their name and their fame out there. And narcissists and sociopath will strive harder for that. It's almost like there's not too much difference between a cult leader and a politician, almost in the sense that they just want the following and the power and the authority. Um, I mean, I'm sure that the cult leaders are a bit more off higher on the narcissist and sociopath scales, but in terms of leaders, um, the ones fighting the hardest to get up top, are willing to be unethical at times, and that's why we see a lot of scandals too. I feel like because it's just so hard to do it honorably and fairly and cleanly. It's hard to have an immaculate rise to in politics. Because people are willing to go to great extents, and if you don't match that, then someone else will. Let's regulate politicians, Tom. Uh, we did put term limits on the presidency. Now, do you put it on the congressman? You know, say you can only do 8 years in the House of Representatives, which is 4 terms. They had 2-year terms, and maybe 12 years as senator because they're 6-year terms, right? Then people know when they're in their second term, uh, it's interesting. I think there's also, I don't, so there's something called, the law of unintended consequences. When you make a law, when you make something up, there's always going to be kind of loopholes around it by the end. So if the idea of like limiting politicians' terms to say you can only do X amount of years, then they get into their last term where they can't run again for re-election, and then they just, I mean, presidents do. Presidents in their second term, they seem to do it fairly, and then maybe they pardon people at the end of the term or whatnot, or do things that are maybe more questionable at the end. But like, it gives room to be more corrupt in that second term or that last term. If it's a senator, if you want to do 3 terms for them or 2 terms, to be corrupt and do special interest groups because they know they're on their way out. They know that I can't do anything after this, right? If you have a 6-year senator term and like I want to run again at the end of this, then you're gonna have to try that last year to do a few things that are going to want people to elect you again. You have to do a few things that are going to earn you respect on the campaign trail so you don't lose out. You have to fix where you're unpopular so you get those voters back. If you really have 1 year left and you're like, I can't run again, well, this corporation's paying me this much money. This one's paying me this much money. I could walk into a CEO job or a C-suite job over here. Let me take the money from this group, and then now I'm working at Coca-Cola at a high-paying job. So it does seem like you put term limits and something like that, the unintended consequences probably going to come back and haunt you. It's tough, but presidents don't seem to be as bad at that. I feel like I could see senators and especially representatives who are a lot less known because there's so many less of them. I could see a lot more corruption with the representatives. Senators, maybe not, and I want to make a push for presidency. How is life in the U.S. during this COVID virus? Will you get vaccinated, or what's your opinion on the subject? I have been vaccinated. We are making it very eligible. I've been vaccinated twice. Been kind of quiet about it because there's been a lot of freaking skeptics, who follow me. I did it twice. It's the right thing to do. It's a smart thing to do. They're basically saying that it also can lower infection between 75 and 90% because you pretty much have that immunity. And, all these people are like talking about, oh, Texas has lowered their rates and they put a mask mandate on. They're not talking about that 3 million Texans have also got vaccinated in that time period. So I think that people are and people being lied to about anti-vax, and they're just told nonsense, and they believe it. But yeah, no, things are looking better. A lot of people getting vaccinated, but we're going to get to a point where it kind of levels out, where the people who want the vaccinations have got them, and the people who are against them uh, for their conspiracy reasons are not going to add up. And then you're going to have a population that's susceptible to it, that's going to keep letting it spread, potential for a variant of the strain, um, and they're just going to kind of keep it going, keep it around instead of getting rid of all of it. Smallpox was eradicated. They did that through a vaccination effort. We're not going to get it eradicated when you have a significant part of the population against it. That's just my view on it. That's what I think. Sup, how you doing, my guy? But the U.S. has been very federal when they've taken care of the virus. Some governors say, "Hey, mask mandates." Some say no. I think Abbott was basically saying from Texas, saying that Austin can't have a mask mandate. I don't want them to have one, which kind of breaches upon the local government authority. The same way that I, as an American, should respect a state's right to make certain laws over the federal government because the 10th, Amendment. Same way that a state should respect the right of a smaller town or city. This is why New York City is allowed to offer a minimum wage of $14, $15, but the state of New York might have higher than the federal minimum wage. It's a good example of federalism in this country. That federal minimum wage could be $7.25. State of New York could be $7.25 federal, right? And then maybe $9. I don't even know federal minimum wage, but New York might be $9, and then the city might be $15. So the country can do something. A state could say we actually want it to be our bar to be higher than that, and then a city within that state could say we want to be higher than that. I'm actually not concerned with federal minimum wage too much because New York minimum wage. New York minimum. Look at the New York State. But yeah, they're bumping theirs up pretty high too. $15, Westchester County $14, and Westchester and Long Island. So the areas that I live in, I'm around. Our state is $12.50. So I think Fed is $7.25. But I said my state's $12.50, so it's an extra $5 an hour. You could choose Sweden model. Let everyone get infected. Survival of the fittest. There's a very unique thing about blood types and infection and people who fight off certain blood type, and that is something that's very unique too. That's actually a very good example of Darwinism. Is smallpox? Is that you'll see when they had the bubonic plague? The concept is young people did die, and then people with certain blood types are more likely to really feel the disease. So what happened is that a lot of blood types had a hard time surviving the plague, so they kind of passed away. And then young infants of that blood type wouldn't make it, but infants with another blood type would survive. And this is why if you looked at the blood types between natives of the Americas and then Europeans, you'll see different blood types because somehow certain blood types survived in Europe through these plagues and through whatnot, and then that was never a thing that happened. That form of natural selection and survival of the fittest didn't happen in the New World, which is why blood types are different in the New World than they are in Europe. I want to look at that. European and American blood type. That is fascinating to me. But so this is the percent of population that has O blood type, and it's showing that O is very common. Blue is up to 90% in South America and Central America, and it's kind of unheard of in Europe. Europeans don't really have that type. They're like 30-40% rather than 90%. And then you see that the North Americans don't have that. as highly. It all has to do with diseases really affecting the blood type. Um, Something that with Poor Planet too. I think there's a lot of questions that people didn't ask when this all started to happen. Um, who do you think will succeed Kamala? Who's the Democratic Party looking at now? I don't think it'll be AOC, but I think she has a role in the Democratic Party. Chuck Schumer is Senate Majority Leader. I don't think that he's going to make it run a president or anything like that. Trying to think of some of the candidates. Andrew Yang, let's see how he does in New York. Pete Buttigieg is trying to make a bit of a name for himself. They put him in the cabinet. They put him as transportation secretary. I don't think he's going to go for president yet, but he's going to have some value. Then you have I don't think New Jersey guy Cory Booker is going to do great. What else is there? I think Pete and Yang are younger, and then they have some popularity in the Democratic Party. Beto, maybe not. I think Cuomo, if he didn't have the scandal, would make a push for it too. He'd probably do well in New York. I don't think Tulsi has that following within the Democratic Party. She gets a lot more moderates. I don't think that's what the party wants. Yeah, no, I don't know if there will be a Democratic president, and I don't know if Kamala run for president. I don't know. It's too early to tell. Yeah, a lot of these predictions this early on are never as good. If you said Donald Trump would be the Republican president in 2013, right, 2012, wouldn't be. I don't know. Wouldn't feel as right. Or even Biden, as soon as. Actually, no, Biden. I felt like they felt like should have ran in 2016, but he had the thing going on with his son Bo, and he just had the 8 years MVP. I know that's actually a bit more of a guess. Yeah, no, it's too early. It's too early to say. I don't know. Last time on the stream, Azar, you said 4 months for Kamala. That would be August. Now you're pushing it back to before Christmas, giving Joe more time. It looks like in your analysis. We'll see. I think Biden's popularity rating shows he's doing a lot of things right. A lot of people are harping on some negatives, but I mean, if he does change transportation with this new infrastructure bill, and he had the stimulus, we'll see. I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that money. And I think that new infrastructure gives a lot of jobs. Infrastructure doesn't build itself. As the governor of South Carolina was saying, a lot of it's going to research and development. It shows there's a lot of people going into R&D, which is not engineers. Well, it is engineers. Thinking of not construction people. So you have a lot of different sectors getting a lot of money to do this, right? People are like, oh, we're spending a lot of money, but like all that money goes to jobs. It goes to people building stuff, buying, hopefully buying equipment and buying materials from American. If it's lumber, if it's steel, if it's whatnot, it's all going into the U.S. economy and creating jobs. So I don't think that's negative as people are saying it is. Maybe one or two things that probably shouldn't be snuck into these bills, but that's actually every bill. It's actually that's the worst thing about politics as are today, but them being weak. They'll sneak in things that like shouldn't be in anything to do with infrastructure into an infrastructure bill just because they feel like this has to get passed and they're going to vote against this infrastructure. Like same thing with the Green New Deal. There's clauses and pieces to it, and then sometimes they argue over amendments to the bills, but that's the worst part of politics. They'll address issues and they'll put things from other issues, and that's not good. That's not good. I've never seen Apocalypse though. I should see it though. Mel Gibson. Um, I don't know. I really haven't seen a ton of historical movies, to be honest. I'm not really a big movie guy. Um, a lot of them are historical too. I feel like not every war movie is historical. I mean, Born the 4th of July is kind of historical, but not my favorite. Young Tom Cruise. I don't know. Let me look up historical movies and see which ones I've seen. Yeah, historical movies. Greyhound. I didn't see Greyhound. I did see 1917. I liked 1917. Um, I did like 1917. I don't feel that was like historical, um, but I liked it. She's had a good amount of historical movies recently. First Man, I didn't see that one. That's with Neil Armstrong on the moon. Harriet looks like Harriet Tubman. Bohemian Rhapsody, I guess it's Queen. I didn't see Darkest Hour either. There's been a good amount. Looks like. Dunkirk. I did see Dunkirk. I wasn't super high on Dunkirk. I love Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan's movies, but that one couldn't do it. I've seen Apollo 13. All right, Unbroken. I've seen that one's good. I felt the story was like better than the movie for some reason. Like, I felt like it was a brilliant story about the guy who was, stuck on a raft for 47 days in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in a Japanese prisoner of war camp, an Olympian. Um, but for some reason, I feel like that story I just told you itself wasn't put on the screen as well. Said Paul 13. I didn't know they made a Hamilton movie. What else is on this list? The Revenant with Leo. I didn't know this. Is it what Howard Glass, Hugh Glass? I did see that one. It's all right. I like a lot of Leo movies, but I don't think that was the one that deserved his best actor, for being honest. 12 Years a Slave was good. I agree with that. Elephant Man was good. What else we got here? Didn't see Malcolm X. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Uh, let me check. And it's 1917 on this list. That was good. That was good. Lincoln is good. I haven't seen Lincoln. I heard they changed the history of that. Like, they didn't put the senators that voted against the 13th Amendment there for like their family's sake or something. Yeah, exactly. History films. If Mel Gibson did Apocalypse about U.S. history, maybe George Washington on the Empire State Building declaring war against a guy via Twitter. I wasn't going to say his name on the stream. Kingdom of Heaven. I have not seen that one. That's a crusading film, right? I mean, Troy too. That's a cool movie. It's cool history. Brad Pitt. But yeah, Hollywood history films are exactly what they are. They're Hollywood representations of history that are just overblown and not great, not accurate. All right, guys, it's been 59 minutes and 40 seconds since I started the stream. That's 1 hour. I'm gonna keep it an hour because it's a very long time for people to watch. But I'll keep it uploaded if you want to rewatch this or look at something. Hope you guys have a good day, a good weekend. Happy Easter. It's Good Friday. So have a good day, everyone. I will see you guys soon.